Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today I'm going to be making a lovely Sherwood Forest themed desk display to go in this sort of area to brighten up my backdrop. It's a job that's long overdue. Yes, when I was tidying up the build room recently, I realised that my collection of Forestmen, you know, the gang, was not displayed very well really and was quite untidy, all sort of resting on this bit here in the middle. And I was always knocking it every time I was moving any wires for putting my keyboard back in front of my computer or even when filming. So I thought I would redo them all in a very sort of nice scene, actually attached to some plates in here with maybe some trees and other scenery to represent the inside of Sherwood Forest, the ancestral home of all the forest men and women, or outlaws from the Sheriff of Brick Nottingham, of course. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now, I haven't got a lot of space here. I haven't got a lot of vertical space underneath my monitor, which won't sort of go up and down very easily. So I think I'm definitely going to have to get rid of my two bulls from my holidays in Spain. There is Angry Toro and Mad Toro, so they're going to have to go somewhere else. I think I'll throw them up there for now. I do plan to keep my Brickhead, who's awesome, and the portrait of my beloved Mrs. Hood. So basically, I'm going to need to make a base first of all, I think, to straddle kind of this central section of the monitor stand. It's flat, but then lower on this side, and it's got this annoying curve in here. So I'm going to have to make a really complicated kind of structure out of loads of green plates to represent the forest floor. And I don't have many, but what I do have is an absolute load of these 4x4 plates. Now these are actually donated by Morris way back in Brick Hall 109 when I said they'd definitely get used somewhere. They will definitely get used somewhere. Very nice. So great big bag of those. And here is that somewhere. I've got loads of other shapes of plate as well in green, and even one of these great big octagonal ones that I'm going to try and incorporate. Maybe that will be the sort of centerpiece there, and that's just going to kind of rest just on gravity either side of that, with most of the weight sort of placed on there. And yeah, then we can build up from there. So that's what I'm going to do first. Alrighty then, well this is what I have come up with, and well, it looks a bit higgledy-piggledy to start with, but I don't think it's really going to matter too much when it's absolutely caked full of forest men and trees and forest life and all the rest of it. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. It's a bit unwieldy to use so many of the same size sort of small plate again and again. It's not very structurally sound, but I won't be moving it around a lot. And just to build it, I've put a couple of different coloured bits on the bottom where we won't see it, but also these bits just temporarily, because every time I push down without those in place, it kind of crunches and snaps in the middle. So yeah, that is our base. I'll take those off temporarily to sort of try it in place. Here we go. Excuse me, Robin. I have to move the picture and the brickhead to one side, but you see there, it fits very well, and it's quite deep actually in the middle, so it'll give us a really good perspective with trees at the back representing Sherwood Forest and all of our lovely gang at the front. Right, so I better push that back on if I'm going to put a tree on, because I've done one tree already, and I figure that we'll have kind of a big tree here on the left, a big tree here on the right, and maybe a third big tree in the middle. So here is my tree for the left. And I've just put a few bits of foliage on, and I haven't gone too high because, well, it's going to go up behind the screen, so it would all be not seen anyway. And I think that will be a sufficient amount of foliage to give the impression of a dense undergrowth behind, with loads of twisted, gnarled roots, and even some acorns representing the oaks, like Major Oak, the real famous tree from the real life Sherwood Forest. So, I'm going to push that down on that side. And well, we don't have much space or mushroom. Mushroom, no, but I'm still going to put in a bit more sort of forest undergrowth with these toadstools here. So I'll put two of them like there and there or something like that. So that looks pretty good as well. Oh yes, it's already shaping up now if you ask me. Then for the middle one, I thought, looking back at all those old sort of 80s sets, the Forestmen always build their fortresses and hideouts into the base of sort of hollowed out trees and so on. So I thought I'd base the middle one around two of these corner panels in old brown that I got from Russ as part of that big haul sent in from Brick Derby. So I'm kind of thinking the next one is going to look a bit like that, maybe with an arch kind of over the top. And then I'll probably get another one that looks a bit like this over here for my third tree to represent a real oak forest full of acorns. But yeah, I think that'll be really good. I'm going to get on with doing that. All right, well, there's the opening to the den with a little hole from a Technic brick for a little hideout for a smaller creature and some plant life and so on. We really won't see anything higher than this, so don't worry about the fact that I've put tiles on the top. That does look a bit odd, out of place, but yeah, that looks good. And I've got loads more roots coming in here for tree number 3, which I'm just going to kind of slot in there. Hopefully push that down without smashing everything I've done so far. There we go. I'll give that another good press down in a minute. But there we go. That looks quite like a dense forest with lots of foliage and even a white bird in that oak tree with more acorns. So yeah, that's looking really nice. And that will just slip in. Oh, I've had to sort of tilt the monitor up a little bit. Or I'll tell you why it won't go in. Still got my prop. Still got the prop on the bottom. There we go. That will slide in there and then go, oh, like that. I think that looks really good. A nice sort of hidden forest hideout at the back, and we're going to have loads of people in front of that sort of breaking it up and making it look a lot more disguised. So yeah, I think that looks really nice. Now to move on to the people, the forest men and women themselves. And I've got a few new additions actually. Some just built out of parts I already had, like these two. We've got this young chap, because we would have forest people of all ages, given that whole families lived in the forest, acting as outlaws. So this little chap's got one of the brown hats that was donated to the channel, and a white feather to represent him being a kind of novice bowman, but he looks rather cheerful, so I like him. Then we've got another female forest woman who has got the same hair and torso as Mrs. Hood, which was also sent into the channel. I've put on some dark green midi legs, so we've got different age groups all represented, so that's good. And then, yep, I went for it, and I filled in the 2 gaps in my Forestmen collection with both the blue one, which I've had a nice 3 sort of pronged feather to, and the red one with another feather, much like Robin's. So yeah, we've got the full gang now, and those 2 are in all sorts of sets. 5 sets for him, 7 sets for him. Both of them came, though, in 6071, the Forestmen's Crossing from 1990, which also includes the fabulously rare and fabulously lovely Forest Woman, the official one, which is looking absolutely great, which I totally need. But I mean, wow, you should see the prices on Bricklink. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be getting one of those. But anyway, we could add her to the scene if we ever come across one. I mean, there's just so few even around to buy, even if you were so inclined. But these can be added to our scene on top of everyone else. But I think I'm going to put my first one kind of in the doorway. Let's say have the red one there. And this is where I might need some ideas from you as to whether I should change the faces of some of these classic Forestmen, because they've got the very historic looking blank Lego face, which is iconic and great in some respects, but given I've got about 4 of these in my gang, it all looks like they're a bit plain. So I was thinking of actually using much more interesting heads, and I've hooked out quite a few sort of possibilities of fun looking sort of gruff men with beards and stubble and stuff to sort of try and use instead. And I think I might start incorporating those. But you have to tell me if you think that's a travesty and I should really go for the classic head, because some of the more recent ones, like these 2, the series minifigures like the Series 9 Forest Maiden, which is Mrs. Hood, of course, and the Series 22 Troubadour have already got, more interesting, more intricate faces. So it seems better to have them all sort of in common, if you ask me, rather than, some plain, some not. Indeed, even me, where am I? Here I am. Even I've got a much more interesting face. Me being the Series 1 Forest Man. Though I never liked that picture, actually, of the Series 1 Forestman. It looks like I'm kind of letting one off there, a little pop from the side. But anyway, cool. So the next stage, now we've got all our trees in place, is to arrange all of our wonderful minifigures. And then we can put it in place and we'll be done. Ho ho ho! Well, look at that. All of the gang in position. And I think that the more modern faces actually brighten it up quite a bit. This guy looks very dangerous indeed. The guy at the back looks incredibly cheerful. And this older fella looks very experienced indeed at taking out the sheriff's guard. So, yeah, I think we should keep that. We've still got a couple of older faces like that one there. So that is a great scene and a very sort of modern, incongruous head with robot hood as well. Anyway, so yeah, I think we're almost complete. I think a little bit of very low scenery for the front might help as well. And I like the fact that I've got a bird in here. So I thought I'd add some more nature to kind of suggest that these guys are at one with the birds and the animals of the forest. So I think I'm going to add a little rabbit to there. Because I love these birds, I think I'm going to add all three colours, or all the three regular colours of the birds. So let's have the blue one there. And then one of the newer squirrels, nice red squirrel, native to the UK. So we'll have that about, what, there? That looks pretty good. And then why not have a red bird right over here? And that adds a good splash of colour as well, I think you'll agree. Oh yes, it's almost like they're part of the gang now, doesn't it? That's really good. I like that. So the final thing is to put me, Robin, in position there at the front, giving us a good wave. And I'll be pulling him off to use him in different scenes and putting on his scuba gear for future builds in the cabinet and so on. But that looks like a really good merry band, doesn't it? So that will slide into position here. Oh, I haven't taken off the prop again. Very forgetful with that. It's hard to remember when it's hidden. Oh, let's not smash everything at this point. Oh, yeah, that was welded to the bottom. That's a very good, strong support. So that can just slide into position over there. And you'll see that now that the screen is... oh, hold on, you probably can't actually. Now that the screen is in position, we can just push it down a little bit more to its natural position. Wow, that forest looks really quite dark, but in a good way, as if it's sort of going off into the background, you know, dot, dot, dot. And we can see the foliage sort of almost touching the bottom edge of this monitor, but then also giving the impression that the trees are much taller if only the monitor wasn't in the way. So yeah, I really like that. It looks very bright and colourful, and it's a million miles better than just having all the loose characters on all of these sort of official stands. That just looks really good. But do tell me what you think, if there's something else I can add. I tried to use as many of the gifts to the channel as I can. We've had Forestmen, and I've got all the cloaks that somebody sent in used, and all the rest of it. So... yeah, feathers, there's been a few of those gifted, and Frartuck, he was a gift, and the tile. So yeah, I think it's a real good tribute to the whole channel. Fantastic. A little closer up, and I think that looks even better. Fantastic. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, I have no idea what I'll be doing, but I'm sure it'll be great fun. So until then, see you! Yeah, I hope none of my merry band are in dire need of £1,000, because that could get quite problematic.